Nick shows have such defined characters and universes, it's hard to imagine seeing them mix with other shows. But there have been numerous crossover episodes featuring some Nick favorites. See babies play with monsters, traditional characters turn CG, and some of your favorite characters pop up on other shows. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad on Screen Rant and be the first to know of new content. Can you guess which movie is represented by these emojis? Stay tuned at the end to find out.
Oh, for humans, they look almost normal.
Rugrats and Aw Real Monsters. Two Nicktoons that couldn't be further from each other were the 90s hits Rugrats and Aw Real Monsters. One followed a group of imaginative babies,
it's our favorite flavor, mud,
and the other followed a group of young monsters learning to scare while living in the sewers. Crossing over the characters for the story is no easy task, but the Rugrats were able to pull it off in a special episode entitled Ghost Story. The episode follows Angelica as she tells the babies a scary story they live out through the animation.
Not so fast, scaredy boy.
At one point, the babies need to look through a hall of doors to find a hidden key. Out of nowhere, Chucky opens a door only to discover Ickis, Crumb, and Obelina on the other side. In an odd twist, the three monsters are watching the actual episode of the Rugrats live on their television. The anxious Chucky quickly shuts the door, but the monsters return with a few pals to haunt them in the future. In the scene that follows, we get to see Ickis and his pals contemplating eating the babies.
You monsters don't want to eat us.
Why not?
When Tommy offers up some pudding, Ickis gives Chucky a quick lick to determine pudding will taste better in the long run.
Oh, definitely pudding.
The crossover presented a clever twist and great way to mix both shows, even though the scene is pretty short.
Hey, there's Timmy Turner.
Jimmy and Timmy Power Hour. Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, and the Fairly Odd Parents were completely different shows. One focused on science.
Hey, how about we break luminous compounds down into their base elements?
The other focused on magic.
I wish I was the strongest guy on the beach.
Yet the creators of both shows came together to produce multiple specials known as the Jimmy and Timmy Power Hour. Through the specials, we saw Jimmy enter Dimsdale as a traditional animation, while Timmy showcased a CG version of himself. The mixed plots were great, extended stories, and really took advantage of a lot of the supporting cast.
I like my new trim figure.
Cindy played a huge role in the Power Hours as her love for Jimmy was put to the test when she decided to date Timmy. There was plenty of magic along the way as the characters crossed dimensions, caused all types of chaos, and presented the perfect way to cross over Nicktoons. Each crossover featured an original plot, including Jimmy's dog Goddard turning evil and Timmy creating a supervillain for him and Jimmy to do battle against. Even though a SpongeBob SquarePants and Fairly Odd Parents crossover would have been spectacular,
we have technology.
We'll settle for the three top-notch specials these shows provided.
What? What did you say? No way.
Rugrats and Rocket Power. After the success of Rugrats, the production company Klasky Supo quickly went to work on other Nicktoons for the network. One of their creations was Rocket Power. The show followed a group of siblings and their friends in a California ocean town.
Doesn't get any better than this.
The group was known for extreme sports including skateboarding, rollerblading, and biking. The show featured a lot of different themes and stories than Rugrats, but the animation style was visually similar. While an on-screen crossover would have been great, fans of both shows got to see the characters interact in the official Rugrats comic book known as Rugrats Comic Adventures. In the issue entitled Invasion of the Babysitters, the Rocket Power gang shows up at the Pickles' home to babysit Tommy and gang. Mixing the babies with some extreme sports creates a lot of fun moments, and naturally Angelica is opposed to the babysitters invading her territory. The story works well in the comic pages and makes you wish the Rocket Power gang could have teamed up with the older versions of the kids on the Rugrats spin-off, all grown up. If either show ever gets a revival, the comic content is already there to create a couple fun, fully developed crossover episodes.
Let's just get out of here.
We just ran Olmec's Temple together!
The Loud House and Legends of the Hidden Temple. The Loud House may be one of Nick's newest hits, but the show knows how to pay homage to Nick's successes of the past. Out of all the shows Loud House has featured, one of the more surprising crossovers was with Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Ooh, I love this show!
The live-action game show featured teams of two competing in a mix of challenges including physical battles, puzzles, and quizzes based off ancient history. In the episode Legends, Lincoln reveals his troubles bonding with his father until they discover their love for the game show and specifically the team known as the
Orange Iguanas!
The duo manages to make the show as a father and son team, and viewers get to enjoy an animated version of the classic game. Some of the rules are skewed to fit in with the storyline, but the basic elements are there, including the large talking statue known as Olmec and the classic creepy music.
There's no escaping me!
Lincoln and his father end up losing the competition, but we all win, getting to see a new form of the classic game show one more time. Now it's time for more members of the Loud House to join together for a game of Family Double Dare.
It's fun to create mutants.
Henry Danger and Game Shakers. Two of the newest hits on Nickelodeon are Henry Danger and Game Shakers. One show revolves around a crime-fighting superhero duo, and the other follows a group of teen game developers. On the surface, it seems hard to mix the two shows together, but it was done effectively with a special entitled Danger Games. Henry Danger mixes it up with the Game Shakers as a charity concert is planned for the character dub.
If I wasn't the real Captain Man, could I do this?
At the center of the plot is the evil villain Dr. Minyak, who vows revenge on Captain Man and Kid Danger after they embarrass him. The mix of characters on both shows brings a lot of comedy to the story, especially as Kid Danger's secret identity is revealed to the Game Shakers. Everything culminates in a huge concert featuring Dub and the two heroes taking on Dr. Minyak at the same time. Not only do we get to see the characters of the two shows mix, but the Game Shakers create an app on the show entitled Crime Wave. On the same day the episode aired in 2017, the Crime Wave app was made available in real app stores and fans could play as the heroic characters.
I already know Cal.
Oh yeah? Well, back off!
My Cousin Skeeter and Kenan and Kel. Many of us remember the crazy antics and stories featured on the Nick comedy series Kenan and Kel. Some of us may have had a hard time remembering another comedy from the same era entitled My Cousin Skeeter. The show featured a guy who moves in with his cousin Skeeter, who happens to be a talking puppet. The surreal show featured a lot of goofy comedy in the vein of Kenan and Kel, and it was only natural for the two to mix. Kenan and Kel crossed over into My Cousin Skeeter for the two-part episode entitled Who? I'm Wild West.
Skeeter, I think there's somebody else in your bed.
Nah, not just somebody. My name's Skeeter.
Kenan and Kel visit a dude ranch where they meet up with Skeeter, Bobby, and Nina. Naturally, things get a little crazy. A treasure map is discovered, and then we meet a group of villains who want the map for themselves. The style of shooting for My Cousin Skeeter was drastically different than Kenan and Kel, showcasing the characters in a whole new element. The extended length of the episode gave plenty for the characters to shine in their own ways and mix together effectively.
Loud family out!
Loud House goes vintage. Watching the Loud House can be filled with a lot of chaotic moments, especially with 11 children running around the animated home.
Way too excited.
The quick scenes and fast-paced stories make it easy to miss a lot of the cameos and homages to other characters. The show has featured animated references to characters like SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star, but one crossover scene was dedicated to the long history of elderly characters featured on various Nicktoons. In the beginning of the Link or Swim episode, we learn how often the Loud family is kicked out of public pools for their behavior.
Chicken fights during senior swim are not fun.
When an elderly lady is injured by the family, we see her surrounded by a group of older characters. There's Grandpa Lou from Rugrats, Arnold's grandfather Phil appears in the water with Miss Fowl from Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. From Invader Zim, we spot Miss Bitters with a cane, and Avatar The Last Airbenders Iroh hangs out under the beach umbrella. It does inspire a lot of inspiration to create an animated Nicktoon version of the Golden Girls featuring all these characters living together.
Good. I was hoping that's what you would say.
Rugrats go wild. Sometimes a Nick crossover is too big for the small screen. A simple episode of a show isn't enough to showcase the full story that needs to be told. This is the case for the story of the Rugrats meeting up with the Wild Thornberrys in the theatrical release of The Rugrats Go Wild. Because of Eliza's ability to talk to animals, she can communicate with the babies as the families make their ways through jungle adventures. We've all seen Tommy and Chucky talk plenty of times, so one of the biggest highlights in the movie is seeing Spike speak for the first time.
Why'd you say that?
That was being social.
Voiced by none other than Bruce Willis, Spike becomes a huge highlight and focal point of the movie.
Could you give a dog a little warning? I'm trying to do my business here.
The crossover film was actually the second Wild Thornberrys movie and the third theatrical Rugrats film. Anyone who saw the movie in theaters were able to watch it with a special scratch and sniff odorama card featuring various scents featured on screen.
Hey, who's gonna tell me when my feet smell?
Gimmicks aside, the film has a lot of adventure and showcases Spike's true dedication to Tommy through the years. A side story involving Angelica and Debbie adds a lot of fun moments to the film and finally gives Angelica a true friend to hang out with. There you have it. What crossover was your favorite? Are there any we missed? Which crossovers do you wish Nick would produce? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome videos. The answer to our emoji quiz is